All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are live, and it's been about 3.5 hours in the NFL legal tampering period. This is a time where agents and players can speak to prospective teams in regards to NFL free agency. So if you're due to become a free agent on Wednesday, March 17th at noon East, or I'm sorry, at 4 o'clock Eastern time, then you are able to begin talking to teams about prospective deals that you could potentially make. And obviously, a lot of times we hear about these deals these deals being made already or potential deals. And we've seen some major action already this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Billievers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this free agency edition of Billievers Talk, where we're going to go over what's going on in free agency. So far, a big day for the New England Patriots. As Buffalo Bills fans, obviously, we need to see what our division rivals do. That guy comes in. How you doing? Not much going on. Do I think we going to get anyone today? Well, technically, you don't get anyone today at all. Again, this is a tampering period. I mean, we've seen a couple of players like Judon and other players go to the Patriots, but right now it's just a verbal contract, right? Nothing going on. Hey, angry Buffalo sports fan, the contracts cannot be officially signed until the new league year begins, which would be Wednesday. I don't expect to hear much from the Buffalo Bills today, to be honest with you. I mean, we already saw a bunch of moves made by the Buffalo Bills last week, including just yesterday with Feliciano re-signing with the Buffalo Bills. Three big re-signings by Brandon Beane and this Buffalo Bills team, all previous Buffalo Bills players. So we had a chance to talk to them, to re-sign them before they became free agents, and we did just that. Milano, Johnson, and Feliciano. Now, I didn't have too much time to talk about the Feliciano move yesterday, so I hope you guys got your break news from #sports. But I do want to talk about that move a little bit today as well. You know, I'm very happy with having Feliciano back. I'm very happy that we got Milano back. I'm very happy that we got Johnson back. But the way this team is shaping up, it's shaping up to look a lot like the 2020 Buffalo Bills. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? The Buffalo Bills in 2020 went to the AFC Championship game. There's things to be excited about. But as you look at the New England Patriots, what they're doing, you look at the Baltimore Ravens, you look at some of these other teams. Now, I think Kansas City has gotten weaker so far due to the loss of their two offensive linemen. But you look at some of these teams, and they're constantly getting better, right? And we made it to the AFC Championship game last year. We did very well, but we did not make it to the Super Bowl. So we were the third or fourth best team last year. And as of right now, we haven't gotten any better. We've stayed the same, unless you consider Star Latulippe coming back from opting out, a huge step up, which, to be honest with you, we don't know that yet. I don't know what Star Latulippe was doing this whole offseason. You know, as soon as I think of a defensive tackle sitting out a year, I think of Gilbert Brown. Some of you might not know who Gilbert Brown is. Played for the Packers, was a nose tackle. And there are plenty of times where Gilbert Brown was actually cut from the team because he didn't make weight. He was just too big. And so I hope that's not the case for Star Latulippe. I hope that there has been some workout regimen this offseason for Star. But we all know that there's nothing that can make up for football speed. You know, there's nothing. We talk about it when there's preseason all the time. There's nothing that can make up for that real live action football speed. And he hasn't had that for a full year. So the only difference for the Buffalo Bills so far between the 2020 year and what's going to be 2021, the big difference is obviously we lost John Brown. Maybe not that big of a deal, but the first couple games without John Brown, Gabe Davis struggled. This offense struggled. So that might be something to keep an eye on. And the addition of Star Latulippe, which is awesome if he's the Star Latulippe of 2019 and he hasn't gotten worse with a year off or needs time to get into his zone, because we're not sure if there's going to be preseason to start the 2021 NFL season. So if he has to get right back into it and we start week 1 of the NFL season, we might have problems still at defensive tackle. Obviously, there's still a draft. Obviously, there's still a lot of time here in free agency. Free agency officially begins Wednesday, March 17th at 4 p.m. But still, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen for this Buffalo Bills team to get better. Again, I'm happy with the moves that we've made. I'm happy we kept Milano. I'm happy we kept Johnson. I'm happy that we have Feliciano back. I'm happy with the continuity on the offensive line. And as Paul from Hashtag brought up yesterday, obviously this front office and this coaching staff must not think that the issues last year with the running game were on the offensive line, because they're all still around. So we'll see what happens. Hey, I'm really glad we got Feliciano and Milano locked in, says Anthony John. Welcome, Anthony. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. Guys, as you roll in here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, as I'm going to keep you updated under current circumstances with NFL free agency. We saw that Andre Roberts, ex-Buffalo Bill, now signed with the Houston Texans. So we no longer have that punt return, kick return guy. So who's going to fill in that role? Is it going to be Isaiah McKenzie? What is going to happen there? We saw Isaiah McKenzie return a punt for a touchdown against Miami in Week 17. So are we going to stick with him, or are we going to look somewhere else, maybe again in the draft, or maybe further down in free agency? Now I'm looking at the CBS tracker for NFL free agents for 2021. Again, the Patriots having a big day so far. They just signed Judon, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, as an edge rusher. Big contract there. What about Christian Wade for a return man? I mean, I need to see more of Christian Wade during preseason, right? I mean, we enjoyed what we saw of him week 4 of the preseason 2 years ago, that huge run for a touchdown. We need to see more from him, because, again, we didn't hear anything about Christian Wade last season from his coaching staff. I mean, he was on the practice squad. He stayed there. Again, wasn't even brought up for that Week 17 matchup. So we'll see. The guy, Kev, comes in and says, I say Isaiah McKenzie. Again, we'll see what happens. Isaiah McKenzie, what's his contract going to look like if he stays with the Buffalo Bills? So, again, there's a lot to discuss. We did, like I said, sign 3 big names. But, man, there's still a lot to be decided in this NFL free agency period. CSG comes in here. I hope the Bills sign a good running back or draft Travis Etienne, I think is how you pronounce that name. We saw the Patriots also got tight end Jonnu Smith, 4-year, $50 million. So they've upped their tight end game. They kept Cam Newton around. So Cam Newton is still there for another season at least. And then, like I said, they do get Judon, edge rusher. And remember, they're getting a lot of players back who opted out in the 2020 NFL season. So I know we want to sleep on New England. We want to sleep on the Jets. We want to sleep on the Dolphins. But all 3 of those teams are top 10 as far as money for during free agency that they can spend. So there's a lot going on. And the Dolphins have a lot of draft capital as well. So you don't want to overlook the Dolphins. The Patriots are spending money like crazy early on. We'll see if they get one of the top tier wide receivers. Kenny Golladay is still on the board. I'm a huge Kenny Golladay fan. Would hate to see him come to an AFC East team. Hey, Ronald Enex, good to see you in here again, guys. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button as you're joining in, as you're probably sitting at work on a Monday afternoon, need something to keep you going. And hopefully this is the thing. Again, free agency tampering period. No one has signed anything yet. But if you agree in principle with these teams, the last thing you want to do, we've seen it happen, but the last thing you really want to do is bail out between now and Wednesday. Really does not look good from a player personnel standpoint. Obviously, you think about Antonio Brown when he was with the Las Vegas Raiders. He made himself unavailable. Then, of course, our team still wanted to sign him due to the talent, but there was so much going on there. New England had him for like a game, and that was it. And then they got rid of him. But the last thing you want to do is say, yeah, in principle, I agree to these terms. And then all of a sudden go and turn your back and say, no, forget it. I want to go to this team instead. That other team better be offering you a whole lot of money for you to stab another team in the back. So let me go through some of these top 50 free agents, according to CBS, where they're at right now and where they're potentially going. We all know about Dak Prescott. He actually signed a deal with the Dallas Cowboys a while back, 4 years, $160 million. Leonard Williams staying with the Giants on the franchise tag. Chris Godwin staying with the Buccaneers on the franchise tag. Brandon Scherf of the Washington football team staying with them due to the franchise tag. The biggest name still available is Trent Williams. New England got their stimulus checks early, says James Williams. They're spending like it. And, you think about Bill Belichick, normally not a big spender during free agency, but definitely doing that this year. Spin comes in. Andre Roberts gone. Yeah, Andre Roberts going to the Houston Texans. Good for him. Hopefully it works out for him there. Obviously, you look at the Houston Texans, not much is working out for them there right now. But hopefully things can turn around for Andre Roberts. that he could be part of a successful franchise. But right now, it does not look good in Houston. Shaquille Barrett signed a new deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 4 years, $72 million. Allen Robinson, franchise tagged. He's going to be a Bear. Justin Simmons, franchise tagged. He's going to stay with the Broncos. Taylor Moton, franchise tagged. He's going to stay with the Carolina Panthers. Then you get into some names again. Kenny Golladay, wide receiver. He's still available. Hunter Henry, that's a big name for Buffalo Bills fans as the Buffalo Bills look to improve in their tight end room as well. Not just the New England Patriots need to improve, who did just that. You want to see the Buffalo Bills improve there as well. And then you have Joe Thuney, offensive guard, formerly of New England. Now that the Buffalo Bills have re-signed some players, it doesn't look like they're going to be spending much of free agency on the offensive line. They might draft an offensive lineman. They might draft a center because we're not sure how long Mitch Morse is going to last. We're not sure how Feliciano is going to do, things like that. They might draft somebody, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to be spending much time on the offensive line during free agency, especially none of these marquee names. I don't think we're going to be spending a lot of money because, first of all, we don't have it. We barely have over $10 million. Hey, Brian Bowers, good to see you in here. We barely have $10 million currently on our salary cap. And a lot of that has to go to the draft picks, right? Talking about maybe $8 million, $9 million, something like that, going towards those draft picks. Now, it's very possible that Brandon Beane already knows that they're going to do everything they can to trade out of the first round, and so he's banking on saving some money there. But at the same time, you can't bank on someone wanting to trade with you, right? It depends who's on the board, who's available at 30, who will want to trade up with you. And you can't guarantee that that's going to happen. Vikings are shopping Daniel Hunter. Very good. Daniel Hunter, let me look him up. But yeah, I think that's going to be a key name as well for the Buffalo Bills. Hendricks would be a great pickup, but would need kind of a miracle to get him. Listen, when you talk about miracles, look at what Brandon Beane's done so far. It's been a miracle so far, right? 3 big names for the Buffalo Bills this offseason. Milano, Feliciano, Johnson. We didn't think we'd get all 3 of them. Well, we did. So miracles can happen, and we're just waiting to see what else Brandon Beane can pull, what tricks he can pull out of his hat coming up here, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. We'll wait to see. Will cost less than $2 million on the cap for the draft picks. It says spin 0481. Less than $2 million this season. I mean, well, first of all, it depends the positions we pick up, right? But I think that it will cost more than $2 million. But I know Spot Track would have that. Let me see. Let's go to Spot Track and see exactly the estimated cap for the draft picks. While we're live on the air, gang, guys, thank you for joining me on this edition of Billievers Talk. We're looking at current free agency. The first round pick. Our first round pick right now is estimated to be a $2 million cap hit for the top 51. Round 1, pick 30, cap hit total according to Spot Track is $2.021 million. So you're looking at, according to Spot Track, projected draft pool, cap hit total is about $6 million. Cap hit at the top 51 is about $4 million. So a little less than what I thought, which is good, which means that we probably have about $4 to $5 million to play with. Again, you do want to take more draft picks we have will cost less. Yeah, if we trade back, it will cost less. Curtis Samuel for Brown replacement says that guy. There are some good wide receivers out there. There was probably some good wide receivers in the draft. However, it's not nearly as deep of a draft. And we don't know what Isaiah Hodgins brings into this mix either. Remember, we didn't see him at all last season. The Bills coaching staff did. They might see something in Isaiah Hodgins that leads you to believe that he could be maybe move Gabe Davis to Brown's spot and then have Isaiah Hodgins come in and do what Gabe Davis did last year and be that number 5 guy, or that number 4 guy, I should say, on the Buffalo Bills wide receiver roster. But let's look at Hodgins' college stats. I want to see if Hodgins has any return history in college to see if they think that that's an option for Andre Roberts' replacement as well. Does not look like he does. Does not look like it. I'm not seeing anything as far as kicking. Hold on. Looks like he does have. I'm still looking. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on this edition of Billievers Talk. Still have 2 million more if we cut Lee Smith. And again, Lee Smith talked about retirement, so we might do that as well. Do we want Jerron Smoot from the Jags right now? I don't want anyone from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, he would help with the line, right? But and I think that's where we have to focus now is defensive line a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see what the Buffalo Bills decide to do. Still have 2 million more. If we cut, yeah, I know. Again, we'll see if he decides to try. We saw that Drew Brees has decided to retire. Brian Bauer says Beane must be God because all he makes are miracles. He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job with all three. I mean, again, no one thought we would get all three of those guys back. We obviously did. And like I said, I mean, I'm very happy to have all three of them back. But the fact that we have all three of them back means we're looking exactly like an AFC championship team, right? We're looking like the team that lost in the AFC championship game. And to be honest, I want to move a step further and make it to the big game. I want to make it to the Super Bowl and potentially win that Super Bowl. So if teams are getting better, like New England, like Tennessee, like some of these other teams, again, I think Kansas City has gotten worse so far in free agency, but these other teams are getting better. I mean, listen, the Chargers, maybe they'll get better and they might surprise some people. I mean, their young quarterback proved a lot last year as far as what he could do. Herbert looked great last year, so it's all going to be interesting. I would love to bring in Will Fuller to replace John Brown, but that would be way too much money. I mean, we could already have John Brown's replacement on the hold on, we got new information here from Ian Rappaport. Lions first-round pick Gerard Davis signs with the Jets. 1 year, $7 million. So we'll see a lot of these 1 year deals as well because, again, the players want to make their money when they can. And with the salary cap getting lower this year, they'll wait till it increases a little bit. So we'll see a lot of these 1 year deals. But former Lions first-round draft pick linebacker Gerard Davis is signing with the Jets. So he's going to go with the Jets. That's going to help their linebacking core. And again, you see these teams. Listen, when the Jets, when the Dolphins, when the Patriots play us, they're going to be out for blood because remember, we were the division winner last year. So they're going to treat each game against the Bills as their big game, as their Super Bowl, and they're going to be amped up for those games. So with these teams all getting better, I hope the Buffalo Bills are ready. I think they're going to be ready. I think we should still be the favorite to win the AFC East, but it's going to be a lot tougher. It's not going to be as easy as it was last season. Jaguars have signed safety Rudy Ford to a 2-year deal for $4.2 million. And those are the type of deals that we need to be looking for. Rudy Ford, a special teams guy as well, 2-year, $4.2 million. I think that would work out well for the Buffalo Bills if we could do something like that. Special teamer Jamal Agnew signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, maybe a guy like that would have been good for us. I think Curtis Samuel will be the best possible wide receiver to get in free agency because he replaces Brown, McKenzie, and Roberts all in one. I don't know if we want him doing all that, though. He might have the ability to replace all three, but do we want him having to replace all three is my question. We need to replace Brown and McKenzie's speed. We do. We absolutely do. We can't expect we cannot expect that. What am I thinking here? We cannot expect Gabe Davis to replace Brown to get faster. He's just not going to. We can't expect Gabe Davis to run those jet sweep plays. He's just not the guy that's going to do that. Those jet sweeps, although some of us thought they got annoying at times, they really opened up the defense and gave Josh Allen a preview of what he's looking at and opened up our offense a little bit, created holes in the defense where Josh Allen can make opportunities, and that's what he did. He picked defenses apart, and I think a lot of that was due to the jet sweeps. So do we put more on Josh Allen's plate as far as reading defenses now that he knows he can be an accurate passer? Do we put more on his plate as far as reading defenses pre-snap, not necessarily using that jet sweep as much? Because remember, in the playoffs, we didn't use that jet sweep all that much. In the Chiefs game, I think we only used it one time. So we went away from that as the season went on. Davis is deadly with a CB2 and can take the back end of the defense. Wide receiver, not the cornerback. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see us get another wide receiver in free agency. Again, I'm not sure if we want Gabe Davis in that number 2 spot. But we'll see. We'll see what the Buffalo Bills decide to do. Maybe they have their eye on someone in the draft as well. Again, just keeping you guys up to date on what's going on in the draft or in the free agency period so far. Again, tampering period started today at noon Eastern time. We do have some more signing. Shaquille Barrett went back to Tampa Bay, 4 years, $72 million. Clowney would be way too expensive for the Buffalo Bills at this point. Allen Robinson was a franchise tag. Justin Simmons was a franchise tag. I think I said that already. Marcus Williams was a franchise tag. Levante David, linebacker, he was signed a 2-year, $25 million deal. As we said earlier, Jonnu Smith, tight end, formerly Tennessee, signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with the New England Patriots. So they got a new tight end in there. Romeo Okwara went back to Detroit. Aaron Jones to Green Bay. And then we get into some Buffalo Bills guys. Matt Judon signed with the Patriots. So some news so far in free agency. Again, not too much going on, but we'll continue to keep you guys up to date. I do think that we have something special planned for you on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. But I did want to talk about Feliciano again. We re-signed John Feliciano, Brandon Beane, able to make things happen in free agency. A big shock to everybody, right, that we were able to get all three guys there. But thank you, Watson, to the Jets. I did not see that yet. Do you have a source here, Anthony John, or are you just projecting that? I didn't see that yet. Obviously, that would be big news if that were to take place. If Watson does go to the Jets or the Dolphins, for that matter, obviously that makes this division that much more difficult, as we were talking about before. I'm gonna see if I don't see anything. Anthony John, do you have confirmation of that, or you just do you just think that's where he's going to go? Because again, if Deshaun Watson, because as of right now, Houston's saying that they're not getting rid of Deshaun Watson. They're saying Deshaun Watson. Okay, just question. Good. Whew. No, I hope not. Even Andre Roberts was just interviewed, and they asked him specifically who's the quarterback in Houston when he plays, and he said, "I hope Deshaun Watson," because Deshaun Watson is a game changer, right? If he gets sent to the Jets, if he gets sent to the Dolphins, all of a sudden this AFC East, instead of looking definitely like it's the Buffalo Bills division to lose, goes into the air, and it's like a 50-50 thing. Now, the good news would be we would have that continuity that the Jets or Dolphins would not have. Hopefully be able to jump on teams early and maybe get a lead in the division that we could hold on to towards the end. So that'd be good news. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson is a game changer, and he would change everything. Wherever he goes, he changes the landscape of the NFL the moment he gets there, okay? If he stays in Houston and decides to play, obviously that adds something to Houston having a chance to win the AFC South. But wherever else he goes, he changes everything. If he goes to San Fran, he changes that whole division, that whole conference. If he goes to Miami, he changes that whole division. Goes to the Jets, he changes that whole division. I do not want to see him in the AFC East. I don't care where else he goes. I don't want you to see Deshaun Watson in the AFC East. But as they say, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. So if he comes, I still trust that this Buffalo Bills team can do their thing. I trust this coaching staff. You look at Sean Dermott, what he has done with this team in 3 seasons, leading them to the AFC Championship game. There's something to be said about that. You talk about what he's done with Leslie Frazier. He's had a couple great defenses in his time here with the Buffalo Bills. And then, of course, the offense last year led by Brian DeBall, being one of the top 5 offenses in the NFL. So I think that this coaching staff has a resume that leads you to believe that they can get the job done no matter who's playing in our division. And I truly do believe that. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson definitely is a game changer. Allen is just going to be that much better and take us to the promised land, brother. I hope so. You wonder, what is Josh Allen's peak at this point, right? Has he met his peak, or is he going to continue to rise? Was last season one of the, when we look back at Josh Allen's career when he retires, will the 2020 NFL season be one of his best all time, one of his best seasons in his career, or will he continue to improve? And will we look at 2021 and say we saw improvement in these categories? 2022, we saw improvement. What is the plateau for Josh Allen? He'll reach it eventually. Has he reached it already? It'd be interesting to see. Allen needs to work on his deep ball this offseason. Well, hopefully we find someone who could be a deep target other than Stephon Diggs. We did see when teams focused on Diggs that, again, our offense struggled, right? We saw when John Brown went out, our offense struggled. So I hope that we get someone in the running game if that's the direction the Buffalo Bills decide to go, who can add that different element, right? We talk about Devin Singletary not living up to the billing last season, but just 2 seasons ago, Bills Mafia was very excited about what Devin Singletary brought to the table. So do they give him another year to see what he can do? Zach Moss, last year, everyone was very excited to see what he could do. And unfortunately, to some Bills fans, he didn't live up to that billing. Do the Buffalo Bills, to Brandon Beane, give him another year to come back? I don't want to see us use any more draft capital on running backs. Last 2 seasons, 2 third-round picks. If we spend a day 3 pick on him running back, that's fine. But if you look at like round 1, I still want to work on the trenches, guys. Again, in my opinion, and I think everyone would agree, games are won and lost in the trenches. Okay, so let's make sure our trenches are stacked. You look at the Super Bowl Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. They got to Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes with the front 4. They didn't need a blitz. They got to him with the front 4, and that led to trouble with Mahomes all day. The Buffalo Bills need to do the same thing. The Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Patrick Mahomes, a $500 million man, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be a problem. Hey, Stefan from Germany, always glad to see you in the chat room. What do I think about the Bills' biggest need is right now? Edge rushers. The Bills' biggest need right now is edge rushers. And I just think that the Buffalo Bills need to focus a lot of attention on that spot. That's just my opinion. But again, guys, free agency going on as we speak, or at least the legal tampering period going on as we speak. And again, New England making some big moves to try to get better, try to give Cam Newton some targets to throw to and get this offense going. I know a lot of Bills fans were happy to see Cam Newton back in New England, thought that meant the Bills will have 2 more victories against New England this season. Just hold off on that because, again, the Patriots are getting a lot of players back who opted out last season. Now they're going to have the same problem that I feel like Starla Twile might have. What was their training regimen like for a full season without NFL football? What did they do during the full season without football? Did they stay in football shape? Or did they take that year to relax, go on vacation, things like that, things that we would all love to do that they would have the opportunity to do. But while they were doing that, it wouldn't help with their football, right? It wouldn't help with the game. That means they'd be a year removed from the game without doing any off-field activity. So were these players doing off-field activities while they opted out? Draft a free agent for defensive end. I would love to pick up a defensive end in free agency, not an expensive one, right? A guy who can get you maybe 3-4 sacks a season, get you about 40-45 tackles. Nothing huge, nothing great, but then also, depending on who's available, draft one in the 1st or 2nd round. I think that's where I would look right now. Again, we're not going to be able to afford the Judons, who's off the board right now, but the defensive ends who are on the top 50 boards in the NFL. We're not going to be able to afford those guys right now just because of the lack of cap space that we have. Carl Lawson, he's an edge rusher that the Buffalo Bills would not be able to afford. Melvin Ingram, obviously, we would not be able to afford. Trey Hendrickson. These are all players, Hassan Reddick. We would not be able to afford these guys. But if we get a guy who is down on the totem pole a little bit and, as someone brought up, Juwan Smoot of Jacksonville, maybe we look at him as a potential defensive end that the Buffalo Bills can bring in. That's all possible. But I just would love to see us pick up middle of the road type defensive end during free agency, and then also pick someone up in the draft. And that's where I would look to go. Again, we lost Trent Murphy. No big surprise there, but that's someone who needs to be replaced, right? So if you continue to look at the defensive edge rushing board, are we going to see a huge improvement from Epineza? Is that what we're going to bank on? I just don't know. CB2, wide receiver 2, defensive tackle, 1 tech defensive end guard. Those are our main needs. Are you putting those in the order where you think they should go, or do you think what's the order for you? Because again, to me, defensive end is first. I would put guard number 2 and then CB cornerback is number 3. Beane, can we work some players' contract to free up another 10 to 15 mil if necessary? Trade for Daniel Hunter, says the Sifa? I don't know. Sifa? Maybe the D is silent. Is it a silent D? Truth or hearts, there's no player out of the Bills' reach. We can definitely free up cap space if we want to. That's just not true. I wish that were the case. I know Brandon Beane's making it look like that's the case, but that's just not true. We would not be able to sign some of these big name players. That's just the way it is. I don't even think we'd be able to get Jadeveon Clowney at this point. Again, it was said that the Bills can free up $10 million in cap space. But if you constantly free up all this cap space, do you just want to use it on just 1 or 2 players? I think you want to be able to spend that money wisely. I wonder if we had tight ends, says Rick Ward. There's one tight end I'm really looking at. Let me get his name for you because I like him a lot. 6'6", out of Arizona. His name's just not coming to me. I'm sure someone, and he would be cheap. He'd be cheap as well. I'm sure someone's going to mention it in the chat section before I am able to pull it up. But I am a huge fan of this guy. As soon as I see his name, I'll let you guys know. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of not to remember his name. But I looked him up a little bit as well. And that's someone that I'd be really interested in. Dan Arnold out of Arizona. I'd be really interested to see if we get him to a short-term deal. Because again, he you look at the guy, 6'6", 4 years of experience. Let me talk about his stats a little bit as well. Over his career, he's played 714 snaps. No more than he only played 41%. Excuse me, guys. 41% of the snaps last season. Had 31 receptions for 438 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. That's something I would really look at. 7 career receiving touchdowns. I'm a fan of that. Draft, I go guard, edge, or wide receiver if the right wide receiver falls in first round. CB2 in second round. DT, edge, guard in third. Round 5, wide receiver, Newsome or Darden if they are still there. Tampa doesn't sniff Mahomes if he isn't behind 3 second stringers. Let's be real, Joe. But they got rid of their tackles. They got rid of both of their tackles. Both the tackles that were out during the Super Bowl, they got rid of them. So that's why we need to get big on the defensive line. That's why we need to bring in good edge rushers. I don't care why. The Buccaneers got to him. I don't care about that. But we have that formula now. Right, which is stupid to me because it's the same formula that would have beat Tom Brady that the Giants used in 2007. It's the same formula to beat all the great quarterbacks. Get pressure on them with your front 4, and then you don't have to blitz anybody, right? Sustain them in the pocket, get pressure on them, because listen, Patrick Mahomes still did his thing. He was still a magic man back there, and wide receivers still dropped the ball. But you saw that pressure getting to Mahomes. You saw him tap his toes and, throw off his back foot instead of being able to throw into a pass. Yes, I get it. The only reason why they got to him was because they had 2 injured offensive tackles. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also had Justin Pierre-Paul, who's 90 years old as their edge rusher, okay? And he was able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. So what, we can't do better than that? We can't do better than that. We let Phillip Rivers sit in the pocket all day against us, not sagging him one time. Once. We can't get pressure on Phillip Rivers. We're not going to be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. It's a problem. The front 4 is a problem. I don't care what the excuse is for why Tampa Bay did it. Okay, so their starters are going to be healthy come 2021. Then our defensive ends need to be that much better than Tampa Bay's defensive ends. That's the point. Our defensive ends need to be some of the best in the league. Last year, we spent the most money of any team on our defensive line. Any team. And we can't get a sack on Phillip Rivers? Come on. Without sending a blitz? Without Milano's the only guy who hit Phillip Rivers in that wildcard game against the Colts. The only guy. That's not acceptable. If we're spending that much money on our front 4, listen, we're close to the cap right now. Look how much we're spending on defense compared to how much we're spending on offense. We're spending $110 million on defense and like 78 million on offense. And our offense is the production? Come on, do better. Yeah, Dan Arnold. That's what I'm looking at. Mahomes will be able to make those crazy throws, but he will not be able to make those crazy plays every single down. The pressure will stop the Chiefs' offense from running away with any game to spin. Yeah, again, I think that the blueprint was there in the Super Bowl. You need to get pressure on Mahomes with your front four and make him make tough decisions, tough throws. And again, he's able to make them. Right? He's able to make them. And there are going to be plays where he's going to make a spectacular play, and you'll just have to say, well, okay, he did that. And you have to move on and have to accept the fact that he is an outstanding player. But at the end of the day, you still need to get pressure on him with the front four, okay? Use Milano for what he's best at. And you can still blitz Milano from time to time. You can still blitz Edmonds from time to time. I'm not saying you can't. You need to mix it up in this league. I understand that. But, man, if you cannot get pressure on the quarterback with your front four, it's going to be problems, especially in today's league when you're looking at Deshaun Watson, when you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, when you're looking at Justin Herbert, when you're looking at Dak Prescott, when you're looking at Russell Wilson, when you're looking at these players. Russell Wilson come to the AFC East. There's no reason he can't. No reason he can't. There, he might not. There might not be an AFC East team on the 4 teams he wants to go to or whatever he said. But there's no reason why I can't go to the Las Vegas Raiders, right? He used that as a team. No reason why I can't go there. Listen, I know that they love Derek Carr over there, but if Seattle says, hey, I'll give you Russell Wilson, you give me Derek Carr and a couple other things, guess what? They're taking it. They're taking it. So there's just too many great quarterbacks in this league right now to not be able to get pressure with your front four. If Sarr comes back fresh and ready, then I think we will have a huge impact on our pass rush. And Oliver will finally be able to do what we drafted him for instead of him playing out of position. And again, that's a big key to all this, right? Will Star Latuile come back to 2019 form, or will he struggle? Will he struggle? And if he struggles, Bills Mafia will not be happy with him, and that's just the truth. And again, he doesn't need to rack up the stats. He didn't rack up the stats in 2019, but what he did was he opened up opportunities for others. Joe Thuney to the Chiefs, 5 years, $80 million. So the Buffalo Bills, again, not in those types of sweepstakes. The New England Patriots lose a guy, and Thuney last year again was on the franchise tag, and this year walks, and he gets a deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, 5-year, $80 million tag. So good for him. And again, some players are going to be making that money, but again, expect to see a lot of short-term deals. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that, guys. If you're in for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll continue to keep up to date. And like I said, I believe that a bunch of us Bills YouTube creators are trying to get something special going for Wednesday, the first true day of free agency. So keep an ear out for that as well. I'm looking forward to this free agency period. And again, guys, during the regular season, I am live for every single game. Live play and reaction. I enjoy that, and I'm going to do that again this season. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up button, like this video. And again, when I do these live streams, comment. I love it. And if you're not watching live, you're watching later, leave a comment down in the comment section. What are some free agent names that you like that are in the Bills' price range? Listen, if we get Kenny Golladay, I would love it, but we just can't. Some contracts this offseason that are for multiple years might just be long to shorten this year cap. Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of possibilities for what these contracts can look like this season, just to make room because of the cap space. So, but yeah, I look at some of these tight ends. Dan Arnold's the one that I would love to get from Arizona. Again, 6'6", when it cost all that much. In fact, you look at his career earnings according to Spot Track. His last contract. Let me see here. When was his last contract? I mean, he's close to the league minimum here, guys, and I think that would be the kind of deal we get from again, undrafted in 2017. Yeah, so last year he just made $750,000. So you could throw him 2 years, $3 million contract, maybe even less, $2.25 million contract. Yeah, I believe he has gone off his rookie contract 2017, undrafted. So you talk about 3-year contract. That would probably be the case. No, he signed a 2-year contract, two-year, $1.23 million contract with the Saints. When was this? It doesn't say when it was though. So if it was, he's become an unrestricted free agent in 2021. So that 2-year contract would have been 2019. So I guess this would be a second contract because he was an undrafted rookie in 2017. So yeah, it was a 2-year contract in So in 2017, 2019, he had a 3-year contract for $1.665 million contract, and then he signed a 2-year extension with the Saints in 2019 for $1.23 million. So those were the contracts. So then Arnold, again, you're talking about give him 2 years. I mean, 2.25 might be too much, 1.75. The reason why I believe we can get anybody is because the market is not there for most of these players to get their worth. For example, Kenny Golladay might be worth 15 mil, but he's only going to get 8 to 10 mil. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to continue to see what happens here. Still a lot of big names on the board. Obviously, only 4 hours into the legal tampering period, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure the Bills are going to make some moves, but they're not going to be headline moves, right? They're just not, just due to the money. Our headlines came last week with Darrell Williams, Matt Milano, and the names of mine for some reason. Darrell Williams, Matt Milano, and Feliciano. So again, guys, thank you for joining me. I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit free agency with you. Had a great time. Always have a great time hanging out with you guys. But I got some parenting duties to take care of, so we're going to do that. I'll talk to you all soon. Again, free agency is crazy. I'll keep you updated on what the Buffalo Bills do. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills. What's up, buddy?